Everybody, we'll give it 3 more minutes, and then we'll get started.
Hi, Alex.
Hey, Sean. Good evening.
Good evening. Good morning. Say, yeah.
Bright and early.
QCost is sponsoring KubeCon India. That's happening in July, I think June, yeah.
Cool. You going?
Uh, yeah, I'm planning to go there. I'm planning to go there, but it would be too hot. I don't I don't know why CNCF chose Mumbai in June. It would be not a good weather to go though.
Okay. Well, if you're interested in manning the OpenCost booth at KubeCon India for a shift, let us know.
Oh,
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
want.
sure.
in fact, if you reach out to D Zeiss, we should be able to
Mhm.
get you a ticket.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't I can't pay I can't pay for your travel probably unless you're giving a speech. Well, in fact, that would be the CMCF paying for it if you're giving a speech, but I think we can pay for your ticket, like you can because you'll be man in a booth.
hmm No, the travel's cheap. The travel's cheap. It's fine. I'll reach out to Dee though about it. So if CubeCost is sponsoring, we do get a stall for OpenCost too.
Uh, it's sort of
No,
independent, right?
yeah.
Mm.
Um, if KubeCost wasn't sponsoring it, we would still OpenCost would have like the opportunity to have a booth, right? So I don't know if we'll have one at all because we haven't really had folks, we haven't been organized to the point where we have enough folks to man the booth in
Mm.
India.
Okay, okay.
Cool. And we could continue to talk more about it. We can go ahead and get started in the interim, and we'll hit on that again in a second. Welcome, everybody. Meeting number 77 of the Open Cost Community Meeting Series. Our first meeting at this time slot, again, designed so that folks, especially in India, don't have to be up till 2:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning to join us here. So yeah, this is our first meeting at this time. Again, this will alternate, right? So this week we'll have it at this time, right? And then 2 weeks from now we're going to have it at its regular North America time, right? 2100 UTC. And then after two weeks after that, it'll be back at this time. Read more about it in our blog post here. Yeah, so we'll be finally able to strike this from the agenda because here we are having it here. Talking about events, our next upcoming KubeCon is EU. It's in Amsterdam. Rajith from Randoli will be representing us here. He is a community maintainer, so he'll be giving a maintainer talk and a lightning talk, uh, probably around similar concepts here. Again, it's just to get the word out, right? Drive adoption, all that good stuff. He and I are meeting later this week to design the talk. So if anyone has stuff that excites them that they want to get into the talk, we're happy to include that. Otherwise, we're gonna sort of go over the last year at OpenCause and talk about new stuff. Um, Ishan just brought up the concept of KubeCon India. Um, you know, as a maintainer, Ishan, I think there may be sponsorship opportunities, and you're well positioned to man the booth for a few hours, right? It's usually not more than 2 or 3 hours. Um, let's continue to look at this and get some dates ironed out, and I'll start looking into like notifying whoever at the CNCF that we might have staffing for a booth. I won't commit yet anything, don't worry.
Mhm.
What else? Community stuff. Uh, a just recurring thing is, we're looking into making a bot to post meeting reminders to the OpenCost CNCF channel. I think we can just do simple timer-based things. It requires more maintenance, right? It would be nice to have something clever that reads this calendar and posts. But I don't know if we have the time to invest into that. Uh, yeah, so that's it for community items. Did anyone have any other topics for the community agenda here before we get into sub-projects? Cool. All right, our first sub-project, OpenCost Infra. The big push here is getting us on the Gateway API. So thanks to Christian for setting all this up. He and I are still going back and forth on some stuff. But, just a reminder here, this month, Ingress Nginx is, going end of life. So in our demo cluster, we are running that, and this de facto, actually not de facto, it just totally replaces Ingress Nginx with Envoy Gateway. We had a nice contribution from a community member a few weeks ago setting up the support for HTTP routes in the chart itself. So yeah, we'll get that running. That'll be a nice test to make sure that all that works. Because when our demo works, our demo uses the Helm chart off the shelf, and we know that it'll be ready for people to use. Yeah, so if anyone wants to look at that PR, weigh in, whatever you feel like doing would be great. But that'll go in hopefully soon-ish. Separate that, working on getting some cloud costs connected. At this point, it's, one of us will just sort of commit to creating an account and spending $20 a month or something on a cloud provider just so that we can visualize accounts. No one in the community is willing to use their cloud costs to power the demo, which is a reasonable concern. So we'll have to work on figuring something out there. Again, just driving adoption, driving interest. Moving on to the integration test subproject, haven't had a lot of movement there. We still need to revisit this idea of testing network cost collection, right? Matt had some good ideas around faking different, cross-regional CIDR ranges to make it seem like it's cross-region, even when it's not. We can't deploy our OCI hosted cluster cross-region. We can deploy across zone, but not cross-region. So to, test all that network traffic that needs some work there. Help wanted. We'll get to it eventually. In terms of integration tests, well, I guess we have one in progress right now, and we failed a few minutes ago. We're holding on failure. So, we have sort of the classic, our Prometheus backed and Promless backed implementations differ in, what data they report for CPU and network. It looks like mostly network, CPU. I know work is looking into this. I think he's bandwidth limited, so if anyone's looking for stuff to work on, that is, I'm sure he could use a second set of eyes there. And then on regular integration tests, we've disabled these as merge requirements. We have some failing tests, mostly around RAM usage. A 25% difference here on this. So, I think this is a legitimate failure. 50% difference here, on RAM usage max and average. Yeah, we'll look into it eventually. Any other thoughts on testing here before we move on? Right. OpenCost, our AI project. Yeah, our CI/CD work is still to do here. Again, we have our embedded agent here that will chat with you about your costs and, potentially even execute savings ideas. The Docker file is in the OpenCost AI repo, and we need to set up CI here to build this image and like deploy it, right? We're using Olama. Adesh did a great job here. It works. We just want to experiment with it, like, what's its minimum system specs to give people a meaningful LLM here, right? If it has to be on 20 GPUs, maybe it's not the most practical thing. But if it can run on your machine locally, maybe there's some interest there. So help on it. The UI, we're now under a code freeze on the UI. Our revamp is underway. So this is our spring mentorship term, right? So just, people have been asking for feedback here. And I guess the overwhelming message that I want to get back is like, it's not that folks did a bad job. It's that we had close to or over 50 applications here, 50 strong applications, right, that made it past the initial screening. So we selected this individual. Max Vichy is his GitHub username here. He's built in this dashboarding functionality with like widgets and stuff, and you can, edit the layout and add this, so this implements assets, right, which is something that had been missing from OpenCost. And this was obviously the programming challenge. Uh, right now, I am co-mentoring this with work here, and then Andrew on the KubeCost team. So the revamp is underway. We're not going to merge anything for a little while here to keep from blowing him up on Git conflicts. Yeah, so that, feel free to follow along on that. We're going to try and get that merged as soon as possible, but it, it uses IBM Carbon design system, and it's much more modern compared to our older UI. The other thing that had been raised from this individual jet tree here, reached out to me and asking for some help here. They're trying to integrate Lighthouse into this. I think that is great, but it's just not working. So if anyone has any Lighthouse experience, um, you know, they asked me to post this here. Maybe I'll ask for more information here. All right. I asked them for more information, so hopefully that can unblock that. Any questions, comments, thoughts on our UI subproject? Cool. All right, the website itself. We have a contribution here for, right, we had looked at this last week. This individual Labdi reached out to me, and we basically couldn't really tell what the difference is here. Test plan to view the change set. Both community highlighted, so community content lived under the docs directory. So if we go to cost.io here, and so navigating community section, navbar items, so the community section, documentation, navbar items, community content, docusource, source pages, updated navbar, styling, highlights only the community tab. So I'm not seeing the issue here. Documentation, open production site, and click community. Documentation and community are now highlighted. I'm not seeing this. And I think the changes are, although now there are no changes here. I think what we'll do here is no changes to show. We're gonna reach out. I'm gonna reach out to her. this might have gone in under a different. This so I'm going to close with comment, and they could follow up with me later. But a zero change PR is probably pretty safe to close. And if you're watching this later on, Loud D, let us know what we did wrong, if anything. All right. Just want to call out some stock PRs here on the website. A bunch of these are choking in deployment. Oh, that's unfortunate. It's probably long enough ago that yeah, the stuff's getting tossed out. Most of our remaining open PRs are, besides this one that Dependabot just opened, stuck Dependabot bumps. And so these are having trouble for any number of reasons. We can just inspect one. Yeah, it's dependency, peer dependency stuff. So if anyone's looking for, an awesome first contribution here, that's your success criteria is well defined, and you can help us clear out our PRs. We're always trying to bump our depths and stay up to date and ahead of stuff. Same thing here. Yeah, it's just more of the same, right? ESLint. Some of these are due to you have to bump two packages at the same time, and Dependabot doesn't know that. So it's, you just need to set up a PR with these changes made. Yeah, so we're stuck there. Um, just I've had this for the last couple of meetings here, just constantly triaging issues. Community to, oh, okay, so this is um, we can close that because we just spent some time investigating that. Broken link to OpenCost YAML manifest and documentation. I think this is a good legitimate issue here. On-prem installation, documentation, installation, on-prem. Where is it? On premises. Maybe I'm in the wrong spot here. OpenCost. Broken link to OpenCost.yaml. Yeah. So if we try and pull this up, then theoretically this is broken. Indeed it is. So yeah, this is legitimate. We'll call it a bug. Documentation. If anyone is looking for some docs stuff to work on, this is definitely a to-do. This individual reached out about it. Almost a month and almost 2 months ago now, honestly. I think they're not interested or too busy. So open. What else? Yeah, just a number of other stuff here. Needs to be an events tab. I'll ping this person. No, that's great. If this individual wants to help, all right. So we moved a few, closed an issue here, made progress on two others. Yeah, eventually we'll whittle this down. But if anyone again is looking for, if anyone or their agent is looking for stuff to do, these looks like folks are having trouble on some stuff. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for bearing with me while we triage there. In terms of OpenCost Core here, no new major announcements here. We had a good discussion last week about Cube model. Figure we could use our time here to move a few PRs here. This individual has contributed a new cloud provider, OVH. I took a quick look at it. I think it's good. This person has gone back and forth with Copilot, and Copilot is happy. So, I think that barring us wanting to actually spin up OVH itself, like this all looks good. Is they've got the catalog in here. Testing, mounting the pricing file as needed, added cases for OVH, reading node labels for OVH. Does anyone have any concerns about merging this? Looks it looks pretty good to me. All right. Thank you for the contribution. And if anyone from OVH is ever watching this, we would love to run a cluster on your infrastructure and test against it. All right. Chuck that in a queue. Approve, update, all that good stuff. All right. Good stuff there. The next one is right. So this is from Tushar, who was on last week. Cache flush changes, no breaking. So custom pricing changes take effect immediately. I think that's great because I know that's been of great interest. Refresh custom pricing. So then it always retrieves it for Alibaba here. Tests updated, good. Refresh pricing for AWS. Great. Writer test. I think actually we're gonna when we log this is not implemented. I think if we're gonna add a new feature and it's not implemented for all the providers, we should at least let people know. Not config. Since ID, push custom pricing, update, parse local disk. Right, these are just tests. I think this looks good. I am going to request that change though. Refresh custom pricing. Great. Got left some feedback here. So this is merged. This one has feedback. And then the last one that I had queued up here is AWS config updates when spot bucket configured, right? This is a relatively new contribution. Again, this person has been going back and forth here last week. Just discovered this issue until this PR is available. 575. All right, so people are having this problem working around it. And this basically changes some variable names, which I think is okay, as long as they're changing the config AWS service key name. Interesting. Is there no they've changed it? Models. Oh, okay, it's changed in here. But it's not changing the JSON, so I think that's okay. It won't blow somebody up because they're still reading from the same JSON key. I think that's all right. Variable name change. A lot of it's variable name change, interestingly enough. Tests look good here. Loading test data. That's great. they're following. I think Sean had established this pattern earlier. So where's the spot bucket? Spot data bucket. Okay. Default. Update config. Spot data bucket. So it looks like just variable renaming. Right? Am I mistaken? All custom pricing are simple. I see. Okay. So it is related to constructing AWS to match JSON tags. Interesting. All right. Any concerns here? It's well tested. It is traced back to the variable naming issues. I think we're going to ship it unless anyone's against it. Awesome. Tuck that in the queue. That's right. And, yeah. Cool. Okay, so two merged, one feedback left. Those are the big ones. Just a general sort of statement here. We have 54 open pull requests. If anyone wants to review them and advocate for us to group review them, there's a lot of debt bumping that needs to happen. Oh, okay, and our bot says that this doesn't break anything downstream, so we can merge a bunch of these debt bumps. So I'll do that offline here, but just in general, like triaging some of these old PRs. Like this one's our second oldest PR. Do we need try and open this PR? We'll make a note to revisit this. So I think that person's waiting for us. We'll revisit that next time. Cool. Any other questions, comments, stuff that people want looked at in OpenCost, or OpenCost Core, anything like that? Otherwise, we'll get the next set of PRs ready here and try and work towards getting under 40 PRs again. Cool. All right, we'll move on to the Helm chart. Thanks, Sean, for curating this part of the agenda. So the first thing you called out is 331, and your comments are problem is unclear, it's not needed potentially, and so we're looking at this, we're potentially closing the issue. Oh, right, we looked at this before, right? Yeah. All right, I'm not leaning towards, we've looked at this before, we asked them why this is needed, we can't tell why this is needed. They haven't responded. I'm leaning towards closing. Unless anyone is here and
I'd close it, Alex.
Okay,
personally. Cool. We seem to be getting a lot of requests and stuff through at the moment without any real follow-up.
Yeah.
We want to close the issue too, about it, or leave it open for them to respond. Or they could just respond on a closed issue too. I mean,
I'd
yeah,
close the issue. They can reopen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mean to be rough, but like it's probably worth putting a little bit of responsibility under these things. Like firing off the stuff and disappearing into the ether is fine, but
All right, Sean, can you close the upstream issue?
sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. I think, anything that isn't desperately needed is a foot gun potentially, right, for another user. And especially if we're all looking at this and not understanding what the use case is, will put the burden of proof on that individual. But if you're out there watching, by all means, open that up. We're open to it. We just need to understand. All right, next, Sean had for us empty var configs dir, right, to support Azure, gzip, billing, And Hunter bumped the chart version.
Not yet, not yet. I just asked
Oh,
him. I
not
missed
yet.
asking yesterday, but I'll keep a check on it.
Great.
And
I'll bump him again. Great. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? Next, you had a 337 for us here. Yes, from Thomas. Cloud integration JSON, declarative cloud, and mounting of the QCost chart pattern. Have you looked over this, Ashan? Do you have any comments on it?
I did look over to it. It looks good. It does have a test too, which Thomas included, which is good. Um, and there are one two minor changes in the deployment YAML, which is good.
Awesome. Great. And
I
he's
was
wrapped it,
Yeah.
protection thing. Okay. Sorry, continue. Don't let me interrupt.
No, no, no. Just that. I was
Documented. Cloud integration JSON, example values, excellent. Nothing named password or something that will check trip static code analysis. It's good. Um, where are we mounting it? I see. Okay, so he's moving it out into a template and either letting it be defined with an override variable or we're helper's secret name. If you're overriding it, then use that. Otherwise, you print out. Okay, cool. Does anyone have any concerns about this? It looks inactive unless people have it enabled, so.
So I don't think it would break any current setup. So because there's helper functions over there that handles it.
Right. Cool. All right. Approved. I'll merge it to Sean. That's cool. All right. Our next one is 328. Right. Decouples plugin binary downloads from credentials. Seems like a compelling use case, and mount plugin config files. Otherwise fall back. Great. Yeah, I think that's okay. Use existing secret. Okay, yep, that's great. That falls into our paradigm of allowing the user to directly override that wherever the plugin secret. Oh, existing secret, right? All right. Yeah. Plugins config. Great. Although I would prefer this to be a helper rather than default. Um, do we want to send this back for that knit and make this be templated out rather than using a default? I mean, this works fine.
We should. I mean, we are following that. We should.
Okay. Okay. Um, Plugin list, yep. And then create the plugin secret if it's not specified. Yep, I think that's great. Check. A nice test for it. Excellent. Great. Improve docs. All right, I think that's good. We'll comment and we'll let that user get back to us. Great. The last one that we hit, it's more of a check-in. Hunter's value schema work. I think, Sean, you touch base with him, right? It's still in progress, I think.
About this, no, I did not. I'll have to check with him.
Right.
But it's a similar PR still open in KubeCost and Char2, but we haven't had time to think about it. It's a good
Okay.
decision, but overall, have to look into it.
Yeah, I mean the ask here was like this is fully it's fully like defined, right? There's no references or anything like that. And from what Hunter's discovered, a schema ref may be impossible, but wouldn't it be nice to have like just all the top level keys in the JSON with references out to each nested object, right? Because now it's basically combing through 1,500 lines of schema definition to find out what you need to change. Maybe we don't care, right? Last time we had talked about like, look, the linter runs and like go figure it out, right? Um, I don't know where we are with that philosophically. Um, yeah, I don't know. If anyone has any experience with like aliasing um, Helm schema or JSON schema objects, that would be awesome because then we could simplify this a little bit. Um, and then just a call out for to do if anyone is looking for ways it can help out. Um, work has started us on our supply chain security journey with the S-bombs. This has been laid out as sort of the next steps here, right? So further securing our supply chain, do stuff like sign the Helm chart, sign the container images, all that good stuff. Publish our public, keys and stuff so that people can validate the signatures. Uh, Basically maturing that practice. Help wanted there. Yeah, any last thoughts on the Helm chart? Questions, comments? Awesome. All right. Just hitting the plugins again. It's, Minos has been working on this GitHub plugin. He needs a GitHub billing thing again. This is just like, I think, you know, whoever is going to sign up for just to pay GitHub for a few days or hours just to like get some billing information here because no one wants to expose their GitHub billing. Again, reasonable. So that plugin's stuck. We have Mongo stuff, Snowflake. If
So what
anyone
does that
wants to.
plugin require just to GitHub thing spun up and run for a bit?
Yeah, it's GitHub pricing, right? So the issue is uh integration with GitHub billing and like basically incur a non-zero charge, even if it's a cent, right? Um, and just make sure we can display that in OpenCost in the external costs section.
Okay.
Yeah, that it's an involved project. We'll get to it someday. But if anyone has a GitHub account that is incurring charges, if they want to run this and just check it out, we can merge it otherwise.
I can probably do that because I do have fair whack of charges in mine in a few different
Great.
structures,
Oh my
org
God, that'd be amazing.
structures, actions, and a few other bits and pieces. So can you just ping me that? I'll have a look at it.
Great. Yeah, let me send that to you right now. That'd be amazing. And we can go through how to set up plugins and stuff. The documentation is pretty decent on it, but local dev and whatever. Cool. Thanks, Org. Our last topic is the Spring Linux Foundation mentorship. Again, we talked about it briefly in the UI revamp, right? We have one mentee, our hardest selection process ever. Many amazing qualified candidates. It started at the beginning of this week and it will run almost to Memorial Day, which here in the States is at the end of May. So, expect big progress on the UI there. We're really excited about it. And we'll have periodic updates here in this item as the mentorship progresses. And that takes us to the end here. A little bit short over one today. Maybe we'll get a few minutes back. Just opening up to the group, like any questions, concerns, things people want to go back over, items for the agenda next time or this time. All right. Well, if not, thanks everybody for attending our inaugural meeting at this time. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. See you. See you, Joel.
Catch you all.
Right.
Bye-bye.